Hi, welcome. It's time for my Labor Day address to the nation, to the USA. And happy Labor Day to you all. Workers are our bread and butter. They're what makes the world go round, or the USA go round. And that's what today is about. That's what we're celebrating. So I am Susan Maud Buchser-Lochocki, a presidential candidate from the 2024 presidential election. And as you know, I have not conceded the election. So I'm still a candidate because I have a lawsuit pending and with the Supreme Court, and I'm waiting to hear from them about that. So on this Labor Day, I hope our real laborers are out enjoying themselves. And I'll be posting this, of course, online, so you can watch it whenever you have leisure time. But go and have fun with your family and friends, and come back when you have time. Tomorrow is another day. This address is to about a couple of things. So, workers and unions. And throughout this whole process of me running for president, starting back in 2019, these words are being tossed around constantly. And it's difficult to know what's best, how it works, what should be done. And again, this is something that maybe needs to be discussed with you, the people. And then I was just looking at my videos from last year, and I could have sworn I put out a Bill of Rights for workers last year, or I had wanted to. But I can't find it now. And I would have released it on Labor Day, I think, but I seem to have released other things. And I think it was when a friend of the family passed away. So it might have gotten lost even. Perhaps I didn't release my Bill of Rights for workers. So one thing that let me backtrack. Okay. So last year when I was running, I started running with the motif of more perfect union. And then I met some union people, and then I realized, well, is the United States a union? I suppose we are. The meaning union has many meanings. So we are union of states, but then is it actually a union? And I suppose it is, because we have, we have rights and we have rules. So we have bylaws and we have rights and we have privileges and benefits. And so, when we say we the people in order to form a more perfect union, are we talking about a union really? And so I think that's why I decided last year I was going to do this Workers' Bill of Rights. But then, like I said, I don't think I ever released it. I can't find it online anymore, so I must not have released it. And I think it's because there was a death of a family friend. So anyway, I still want to introduce a Workers' Bill of Rights. And I don't have my notes on it anymore, so I'll have to come up with this in general at a later date. But then, I was thinking about union, and are we a union, and are we moving towards a more perfect union? And, what are we exactly celebrating here today? Is it workers, or is it unions, or is it the combination of worker unions? And then, thinking about our current times and the fact that robots are soon going to be available to us. What does more perfect union, what do unions mean anymore? What does human work look like anymore? What does workers' work look like anymore? How much work are we going to be doing? And what are robots? How are they going to be fitting into our day-to-day world? And then I was also recently surprised at the expanse, or how much money do wealthy people really have, and the fact that for some we can get by, I can get by on like $5 a day or less even. I mean, technically I have, insurance, and I have rent, and I have taxes and all this stuff, but plus or minus, $5 a day does do it. So when you talk about people making, over $1 million a day as a CEO or something, how does that play in to everything? And what should be minimum compensation package or something like that? So we the people, in order to form a more perfect union, we are still working on putting together a more perfect union. Establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. And ensuring domestic tranquility is where I was seeing the mother idea that I have of paying mothers for domestic tranquility, and also fathers, and bring some security to these people for their important work they do raising the next generation. And so, there's just I guess, I need to talk to you, the people. That's really how and where do we want to put this in? Because I don't think it's a decision that any one president should make by themselves or person. So, and I mean, another option would be to create a women's union, which would house mothering and grandmothering, and quite possibly prostitution and pregnancy and just all the various aspects. So there is that option too of going completely separate, which is also not the worst concept. But I kind of like having it cemented into the Constitution under one of the categories that we have. Now, currently, it's sort of under general welfare, but I think that's the wrong place, because there's nothing general about being a mother, and it deserves a special location, in my opinion. So, since I couldn't find my list of Workers' Bill of Rights, I don't necessarily know if I feel comfortable going over just anything at this point, but I'm going to leave it like this, that if, let me put those out to you. What kind of workers' rights? So One of my things that I realized in Switzerland, living there, was that a lot of law products are automatically given to citizens, and so you don't have to spend extra money on a lawyer to get a divorce, to get married, to get compensation. When you die, there's automatic inheritance program that goes on. And it's only if you want changes in those. If you want to do something different, then you go to a lawyer and you do something different. Then you get help. But so the country provides for their citizens all the details that one needs for living a life. And there's like the standard details, and then there are even a few variations within the laws. But then major changes, if you want to cut somebody out of your will, or if you, if you have like a lot of money and you don't want to share it with your future spouse, you have to then go and sign special documents. So, and I like that because, there's a lot of waste of time and money going through lawyers and courts just to get a divorce, just to get this or that. And it doesn't have to be this difficult. So this is one of the things I want to do for the U.S. people, is make a standardized marriage, standardized divorce, standardized death practice. And then if you want to vary from that, you can. But it needs to be documented properly then with a lawyer and whatnot. So this would be part of our citizen rights, part of our Bill of Rights. And it would ultimately also come under Workers' Bill of Rights. So, yeah. I guess that's because, like I said, it was implied that we are a union. And if we're a union, then we have certain rights and benefits, right? Certain things are laid out in the law for us. So, yeah, so I kind of like that idea. And I think we need to approach that. So, anyway, let me know what you think. Is motherhood under domestic tranquility? Because we call it domestic violence, right? And domestic work, and, she's a domestic or whatever. So domestic tranquility is where I see motherhood. It could be somehow a branch of the National Guard, or it could be its own separate thing. So I really need to hear from you, the people, about what and how we can go forward here. And then, there seems to be a lot of money. So I as far as like citizen rights and Social Security, I was always told I can retire at 65, and now I got to retire at 67. And now I also got something from them that states that, they're only guaranteeing payments until middle of next decade. But yeah, we've got all these billionaires out there with tons of money. And I know that there's like a cap somewhere on Social Security where you don't have to pay more than that if you've already paid the maximum. So maybe it's time to raise that so that we can get more funds into Social Security so that people can have their Social Security for longer. And so, yeah, this is, you know, we got a lot of very wealthy citizens who, in my opinion, could pay a more equal share to various things. So that's where I am. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and leave this to you all to think about. And like I said, to all my workers, all of our workers out there, here in the USA, thank you so much for your work this year. Thanks for contributing to our country and keeping it going. We are nothing without you. Thank you. And I wish you a wonderful day. Best wishes. I am Susan Maud Buchser-Lochocki, and if you want to find out more about me, I have a website at susan4usa.com. That's Susan4, the number 4, USA.com. Okay, bye for now.